Hey guys, I am so glad you're here today. My name's Julie and I'm at my family's farm in Pelham, Pennsylvania. That's a little town in York County, and this farm is Flinchbaugh's Orchard and Farm. Now I'm so glad you're here because we're gonna take a trip around the farm, and not just any farm, a yummy apple farm and a pumpkin patch. And we're kind of standing in the middle of that pumpkin patch right now. Have you picked a pumpkin yet this year? I hope you have. If you haven't, stop on out. But I thought we would maybe show you a couple things at the farm and in the pumpkin patch so you can learn a little bit more about how we grow your favorite fruits and vegetables of the fall season. Now, before we start any tour, you know what I always say, get up out of your seat. That's right, get on up off your bottom, stand up, and because we're walking, we gotta stretch. So stretch to the ceiling. Now stretch to your toes. Oh, that feels good. Now stretch this way and stretch this way. And let's get our wiggles going. Ready? Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Okay, I think I'm ready. Are you ready? I hope so. Here we go. We want to talk about pumpkins and how they grow. Now, do they grow on a tree like those over there? Nope, they don't grow on trees. Do they grow on bushes like blueberries? Nope, I don't think they grow on bushes. Oh wait, I think I see what they grow on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What is this thing? It's called a vine. Can you say that word with me? Vine. Starts with a V. Now, this vine doesn't look really happy right now, does it? That's because it's October and we've had a frost. And frost usually kills our plants. And so this vine here is now officially dead. It's done its job. Well, what it was growing all season long was our pumpkins. And our pumpkins grow on this vine, which grow on the ground. Hence the reason there's a little mud on the backside, because that's where it was growing. Now our pumpkins are traditionally orange, as you can see here, but sometimes we have pumpkins of different colors. Sometimes we have pumpkins that are white. Sometimes we have, oh wait, that's not a pumpkin. Is this a pumpkin? No, do you guys know what these are called? This is a type of gourd. Now a lot of people like to call it our watermelon gourds, but I like to think of it as a goose gourd because that's its name. Because look at the shape of it. It's got the big bottom down top, it's got his neck, and here's its head. If you're decorating a pumpkin for Halloween this year, you might want to try one of these out. And then we also have some other gourds that look like this. Again, different shapes, different colors, different bumps, different smoothness. Now the fun thing, just like you and me, different hair color, different personalities, so do our pumpkins and gourds. Different personalities and different colors. Now, when we think about gourds and pumpkins, we have to wonder, when did we plant this field of pumpkins? Does anyone know? Did you grow pumpkins at home? We planted the seeds for this pumpkin patch in about May. And so what we did, we planted the pumpkin seeds into the ground. They started growing. We got our cotyledon. A cotyledon has 2 leaves starting. Eventually we had these beautiful yellow blooms. Now, yellow flowers are what blooms on our pumpkins. They're typically about the size of my hand when they open. Open up your hand, okay? That's about the size of a pumpkin flower. Now a special insect likes to visit that flower. Anyone know who? Yeah, you said the honeybee. That's right, because they're one of our pollinators. But guess what? It's actually not the honeybee that comes to visit our pumpkin flowers. Pumpkins bloom in the early morning of the day. The honeybees are probably a little bit like you. You don't like to get out of bed in the morning, and neither do the honeybees. The honeybees like to sleep in, and you don't really see honeybees active till about 9 or 10 a.m. And by 9 or 10 a.m., the sunshine has burnt our pumpkin flowers closed. An insect that does visit our flowers and pollinates our flowers is actually the bumblebee, the native bumblebee that you see. So when you think about the difference between the honeybees and the bumblebees, bumblebees are like the sumo wrestlers. Bumblebees, bumblebees. Can you guys do that? Yeah, so the bumblebees, because they're big, they're a little slower, but they work longer hours than our really, really sweet, happy honeybees. So we have a lot to thank to all the pollinators in the field. So they come and visit our flowers. Now they want 2 things from that flower. The first thing they want is yellow. Any ideas? Pollen, that's right. They collect the pollen on their legs, and their legs have baskets and carry all that pollen. Then they want something else. nectar. Now nectar is sweet, okay? And they slurp up the nectar with their tongue that looks like this. Can you make your tongue into a straw like that? I bet you could try. Try it. Yep, so they slurp up that nectar, stores it in their belly, and then they go to the next flower and do the same thing. And from moving that pollen on their legs to the next flower, to the next flower, the next flower, they're collecting more, but they're also losing some along the way. And that's pollinating our flowers. So that these beautiful yellow flowers will now start to grow a baby pumpkin. And eventually, we'll have those perfect pumpkins to pick, like we have here. Now, have you ever looked inside of a pumpkin? We're gonna take this funky looking one right here. We're gonna crack it open. Oh, yucky! Ooh, oh my goodness. Well, this is really cool, guys, because this one was kind of opened already. I think there was a animal out here eating them. But look what's in here. Seeds. Now, it's a lot of different seeds. I bet there's probably 200-300 seeds in here. Lots and lots of seeds. So we could save these and dry them for us to grow next year, or we can take these seeds, clean off all the guts of the pumpkin, put them in the oven and bake them. Add a little salt or Old Bay or a little brown sugar, and then we can eat them later. So pumpkin seeds are not only great for planting again, but they're also perfect for eating. And when you have so many seeds in one pumpkin, you surely can save some to eat. All right, guys, do you think we should head off to see the apple orchard now too? All right, follow me there. All right, guys, so we're walking from the pumpkin patch, going past the corn maze. Look at those beautiful peach trees changing colors this fall. And we're heading up the hill to the apple orchard. Bzzz. Say hello to Haley! Miss Haley's a honeybee and she lives here at our farm. Now, Miss Haley is a human? No. An animal? Nah. A fish? No, she's an insect. Or you might know her as a bug. But to be a bug or an insect, you need to have 6 legs. Do you want to count them with me? Get ready. Get ready to count. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 legs. Do you have 6 legs? No, you only have 2, right? Well, do you have any wings? I don't. Maybe you'll have some wings for Halloween, but she has 4 wings. 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes her an insect because you don't have 6 legs unless you're an insect. So Miss Haley lives here at our farm, and she lives here in something called hives. Now, she lives here because she loves what we have. Do you remember those giant yellow flowers on the pumpkin plant? Nope. That wasn't what she wanted because the bumblebees like them. She likes the flowers on our trees here. But wait, those aren't flowers, are they? No, they're apples, right? I know. I have a picture when there were flowers on the tree. Look at all those beautiful flowers on those branches. Flowers everywhere. And Miss Haley got so excited because Miss Haley wanted the what? The pollen and the nectar. Bzzz. She visits each flower. And you see my flower diagram here? She collects the pollen off of these guys right here. They kind of look like hot dog buns, but they got pollen on them. And she collects them by walking. And then she uses that tongue. Make your straw. She sucks the nectar deep out of here and puts it into her belly. So, once she's done that for one flower, she goes to the next one, does the same thing. Goes to the next one, does the same thing. And once she's pollinated these flowers, they're no longer going to be white, but they're going to grow into big, beautiful red apples. Or green, or yellow-green, or yellow-red, whatever color apple you think of. So Miss Haley pollinates our flowers to make us have beautiful apple trees. Now, how many of you guys have a favorite apple? I do. My favorite apple variety is Cameo. It's very, very unique to Pennsylvania. You don't find it very many other places. You might not even find it at the grocery store. You might actually have to go visit an orchard or farm market just like ours. So get outside wherever you are in Pennsylvania and go to the local orchard or farm market. Forget the grocery stores on this one and get your apple from the orchard. Now, we grow 18 varieties of apples. I don't have all 18 here in the basket, but we grow 18 different types. I told you my favorite. I want you to think about what your favorite is. And if you're sitting next to a classmate, I think you should tell them what it is. Or if you're sitting with mom and dad, tell them what it is. So they go get you that favorite apple next time. So sometimes we have Gala, old standards like Golden Delicious, Cortland, perfect for baking, Sansa, a yummy apple we start picking in the summertime, and the list goes on. Honeycrisp, Crimson Crisp, that Evercrisp, Damon, Jonagold. I could just tell you more and more. But no matter what you think about them, it's most important how we grow them. And these trees here are rather large. Would you agree? I mean, look at this ladder. Don't believe me, I'm not climbing it, because let's be honest, I'll be on the ground, you'll all be laughing. But if you look at that ladder, we need a giant ladder to reach the top of that tree. That's a lot of work to move this tree. My friend Charlene and I moved this together earlier, and it's probably about 50 pounds total. It's a little awkward to move. So picking these big trees of apples takes a lot of work and a lot of strength. When they pick the apples, they put this picking bag over their shoulder. Let's see if I can do this, because remember, I'm not a professional. I'm a professional eater, not a professional picker. And they pick their apples by lifting and taking it off. Now, did you see? I held on to the branch too, because what most people want to do is just rip the apple. But when there's bunches of apples, like, let me come back here. When there's bunches of apples back here, if you rip, you might knock it on the ground too much, and we don't want bruised apples. So it's really important that you hold on to the branch and lift it up. Just like that. I'm gonna steal a bite while you watch. I hope that makes you want to go get one. These trees, guys, oh, that was a good bite of apple. These trees are called semi-dwarf trees. They don't look very semi-dwarf, but you can see how tall and big they are. Apple trees used to be even bigger and rounder and taller. That was way back when my grandpa was growing apple trees. We've learned through science and a lot of years of practice and growing that it's better to grow apples on smaller trees. So our big apple trees have gotten smaller. Should we go look at those small trees? These here again are semi-dwarf type. It's how we grow them. And importantly, take note to how skinny they get at the top to how wide they are at the bottom. That's the nature of how we grow this tree. So let's head on out to another part of the orchard and see what we can find. So we went to those big trees. And if you remember, the training system for those were called semi-dwarf trees. Now those were Fuji apples growing on that tree down there too. These are Fuji growing here too. But now notice, these trees are much, much skinnier, okay? They're still fairly tall, but picking these is not that hard to do. We don't need that giant ladder that weighs 50 pounds. We don't need to move it 10 times around that tree. Actually, I don't even know if we need a ladder at this tree depending on the picker. So we've cut out the need for a ladder, which is super important. This type of tree is called a dwarf tree, okay? Dwarf means small. So we've gone from semi-dwarf to dwarf. Now, why are we growing apples on smaller trees? Do you think we grow less apples per acre if we have smaller trees? Absolutely not. We actually grow more apples on an acre of land when the trees are smaller. Because look, they're planted, here's a trunk, and here's a trunk. They're planted 4 feet apart. In our semi-dwarf, they were planted 16 feet apart. And in the old standard trees, they used to be 25 feet apart. So we have more trees per acre. Now what's important is if you notice this apple here. See how it's red? When I turn it around, look, it's yellow because the sun is shining in here. And just like you and I get tan on our arm from the sunshine, apples and fruit get their beautiful coloring from the sun. So on those big trees, any apple that's shaded or covered from those branches, and there's a lot more branches on the trees, does not get the beautiful coloring that we want. So we want quality and we want quantity both. So the smaller the tree, the less branches we have, the less shading we have, and the better coloring. Plus, if you're an insect, and I don't mean those honeybees, I mean those bad ones like aphids. If you're an insect, you like to live where it's dark and you like to live where it's wet. And this tree, I don't see too many shaded spots in there. So the insects are not naturally going to live in this tree because it's kind of already too sunny and too perfect for them. Air can flow through here. It doesn't stay wet. We have a lot less insect problem, and we have a lot less disease problem because it's not moist and it's staying dry and sunny. So these trees, because they're smaller, are providing a more quality apple, more of them, and less insect and disease problem. So these dwarf trees have really proven good for us here at Flinchbaugh's. Now, if you're ever thinking in the summertime, it's super, super hot, we haven't had rain in a long time, how do we water all these trees here at our orchard? Good question. Don't worry, I don't come out here with a jug of water. What we use is this hose down here. If you notice, it has a blue line on it. At this blue line, when we turn on the faucet, water will slowly drip from that blue line. Now notice that the hose is right at the tree trunk, not out here in the grass, but right in the tree trunk. And we want the water to go here because the roots of a tree are as wide as the branches. So that means there's really no branches or no roots to this tree out here. So we want the water to go there. We don't want to waste that way. We want it to go right to the fruit tree. Now additionally, we have smaller trees. We're making sure the water's going right to where it was. But these tree trunks, these branches are pretty heavy with fruit. And if you look in here too, I have wire in here. It's almost like a support system. This is called trellising. So these wires are connected to this post and they're actually holding up these trees. Because when these trees are heavy with fruit and they have small root systems like they do, they're more likely to go whoop, crash on the ground and all those apples get bruised. Again, I don't want that. So we have to build them a little bit of a support system while they're here. So smaller trees, good things for the orchard, good things for you, but takes a little bit more work to make it happy. So get your apples, enjoy them, and I wish you guys a great rest of the day, and thanks for visiting Flinchbaugh's Orchard.